Ladies and gentlemen, here we are at episode 76 of the American Reveille Podcast. And, woo, do we have one for you today. Folks, this little doozy is all about Texas Senator Ted Cruz. You might be wondering why I'm talking in this goofy-ass accent and getting all dramatic-like. Well, don't worry, my folks. It's just for dramatic effect. I promise I won't talk for an hour through the whole damn episode like this, but I thought it would be funny to start the beginning. You see, some people will know that I'm actually doing a Jake the Snake Roberts impression. Some people won't. Regardless, we gotta talk Ted Cruz. We gotta talk Cancun. We gotta talk renewable energy. We gotta talk the Twitter screw-offs that are talking all the crap. And then we gotta talk about the real truth behind all this. And the real truth is simple. If I was a millionaire living in Texas when all this crap is going down, my ass would be in Cancun too. Stay tuned for this spaghetti western next. Hey guys, how you doing? Ladies and gentlemen, James Lane here. Just kidding, I don't talk like that. I am not from Texas or that part of the South. I'm from South Florida. Our talk you can't hear because unfortunately most of us had a mouthful of Oxycontin back in the day. Anyway, just kidding. Look, I'm from South Florida. Raised there during the height of the opioid crisis, so we have jokes. What do you want me to say, guys? What do you want me to say? Ted Cruz, as we all know by now, hopped on a plane, went down to Cancun, got a bunch of crap for it, came back, right? I saw this really good article on The Blaze talking about why it's not such a big deal, right? Why what Ted Cruz did isn't a national tragedy. Speaking of which, you see how long it took Biden to react to what happened in Texas. Trump would have been all over that stuff day one, 2 hours into it. Anyway, I thought it would be important to get through this. I want to read this article to you. I want to talk to you about what happened with Ted Cruz, what happened down in Cancun, why it's not a big deal. And then I'm going to take it even further and make a broader comparison to the thousands of Americans heading to Cancun right now from Texas. I'm going to take it even further than that. And I'm going to show you all the trash-talking hypocritical lefties, all of the disgusting Democrat scum, the pond scum that even that scum-sucking little fish in the fish tanks wouldn't want to just latch itself onto. Just disgusting creatures, these elitist Democrats and these celebrities that identify as elitist Democrats, because really they're just pawns of the machine. But honestly, you have to see this ridiculousness, all right? We're going to poke a little fun at Ted Cruz. He can take it, all right? I just feel like people are taking this way too damn serious, right? I know there's a lot of horrible stuff going down in Texas, but not... let me put it a different way. Ted Cruz isn't the end-all be-all solution to that, right? But Ted Cruz did make a mistake because he should have known that every lefty on the planet had their eyes on him, right? He should have known better than that. So when he's saying it was a mistake, I don't think he's saying it was a mistake to go to Cancun with his family, be a dad. I think he was saying it was a political mistake, all right? Whether he's in Texas or not, I don't think makes too much of a difference on how many people are helped in Texas, right? At the same time, who knows? We'll read through the article. We'll talk about it. And at the end, I'm gonna actually bring this into an article from the Babylon Bee, because they're freaking hilarious. And between you and me, I'm actually considering doing like at least one episode a week where I fake serious report on the news from the Babylon Bee, just because they're so freaking funny. I saw this Babylon Bee article with Ted Cruz and I almost fell off the chair dying laughing, just dying laughing. So it got me thinking like, man, everybody's doing these serious news shows. Like I said, I try to be a little more entertaining and not be so serious, not be a news organization, more of an entertainment hub. But when I saw that Babylon Bee stuff, it really got me thinking, there's nobody doing that. There's nobody out there that has a funny show that's reporting on Babylon Bee that much. Maybe putting it in here and there, but I'm thinking of doing at least one entire podcast a week on it. So if you're into that, if that's something you think you'd enjoy, let me know. Send me an email, jameslane@AmericanReveille.com, or leave it in the comments section below. I'm super curious what you think. I'm probably going to try it regardless. So just let me know. I want your feedback, all right? So with that being said, guys, let's start reading. Folks, this is a Blaze Media op-ed from Leon Wolf. Came out February 19, 2021. Commentary. The controversy, excuse me. I'm like, the controversy over Ted Cruz. The controversy over Ted Cruz, his trip to Cancun is silly, right? The controversy over Cruz's trip to Cancun is silly and ridiculous. But why is it silly and ridiculous? It says Ted Cruz does not have the ability to unfreeze windmills or do anything else to get Texas's power back online. Unless he's Elsa from Frozen, I mean, maybe, just maybe, if you listen close enough, you might hear in the distance, and then you'll know. Anyway, we're not going to look. I have young kids. Give me a break. In case you missed it, the whole world's flipping out over the fact that Texas Senator Ted Cruz took a trip to Cancun during the middle of a historic snowstorm in Texas that caused massive power blackouts in the state. Apparently, the story is important enough that a major New York publication sent a reporter to find out who was taking care of Cruz's dog while he was gone, and predictably wrote a dishonest headline about the answer in that asinine question. The whole controversy is nearly the silliest thing I've ever seen, and I want to switch over real quick. All right, for those listening, I'm going through some of these articles here. I have an article on Fox News right now. Oh, let me reload that real quick. I guess it timed out. Hillary Clinton jabs Cruz. Don't vote for anyone you wouldn't trust your dog with. Hillary, I wouldn't frickin' trust you with a fire extinguisher. I wouldn't trust you with a spatula. I wouldn't trust you with a pencil. I wouldn't trust you with a can of Spam. I wouldn't trust you with a parakeet. I wouldn't trust you in a boat. I wouldn't trust you in a moat. I wouldn't trust you on a cliff. I wouldn't trust you with a spliff. I wouldn't trust you in my hand. I wouldn't trust you with a band. Shut the fuck up. Jesus Christ, Hillary. Sorry. I'm sorry, but go sit down and drink some cocoa. You're done, old lady. Sit down. You're out of this game. I'm actually going to X this, but I just wanted you to know that Hillary had to say that. Just wanted to get a little of that fuego. It's Ted Cruz in Cancun. I can say fuego. He wants that fire, that fuego. You got to say it like that, all sexy, like, that fuego. Deep inside your belly, you feel the fire raging inside. The fuego. I wanted to give you the fire. I want to piss you off. Now that I have your attention, now that you have the fuego, the people who are complaining against Cruz right now would have a very valid complaint if Cruz were the governor of Texas, or even a mayor of a Texas city, or some other executive branch official whose job involves coordinating the government response to a crisis. I would submit that the overwhelming majority of those jobs can also be performed just as effectively from nearly anywhere on the planet in this modern age. But there's something to be said for the boss showing the flag, so to speak. Cruz's job involves none of those things. His job is to cast votes on behalf of his constituency, there we go, in Washington, D.C. He has no role in restoring power to the residents of Texas, nor insulting the roads or heating the homes or anything else. To the extent that he might be doing anything during the course of this week, be it sending strongly worded letters to power company officials or appearing on television to make his concerned face, those things would probably actually distract people who are working to get power back on from doing what they should be doing. And really, this is completely accurate. Cruz doesn't have a job. He has maybe a higher responsibility, maybe as a face, maybe he can support, bring a little bit of donations in, things like that. Sure, I get that. And politically, in the hot climate that we're in, this was a mistake by Cruz, not a mistake in regard to his actions. I would have gone to Cancun too if I had millions of dollars in the bank account. I was Senator Ted Cruz. F this. F freaking food lines. F no power. I'm sure everybody right now in Texas, and even those that might see this later that had no power, they'll agree with me. If they could go to Cancun, they'd go to Cancun. Screw this shit. All right? Freaking great job putting those giant windmills in the sky. The most expensive form of renewable energy ever. Oh, you didn't put the heaters in. Shut up, lefties. Shut up. You put the heaters in. Go freaking get a rope, all right, and one of those carabiners, right? Get some calluses on your hands. I still have calluses. Get those calluses. Oh, and just climb your ass up 100 bazillion stories up to that windmill, man. And you put that heater in. Go ahead. You pay for it, too. Shut up. You didn't have the heater. Your windmill energy, your turbines, they're ridiculous. And so are you. Shut up. Nor is Cruz guilty of hypocrisy, as so many Democrat politicians were when they took posh trips over the last several months after telling their constituents that traveling to see their families at Thanksgiving would cause all of us to die of COVID-19, the China virus. I can't find any record of anyone posing the question to Cruz. But if someone had asked him if he thought it was advisable for Texans to go somewhere that does have power for the duration of the storm, he would have probably answered with a resounding yes, just like I just told you. Ted Cruz did not spend the last 3 weeks telling people traveling would kill grandma, only to jet off to a fancy vacation with his family. Many, many, many Democrat politicians did. And yet the Cruz trip has already been covered by the media more than all of those trips combined. The most serious error that Cruz committed was doing something that invited the media to have an excuse to make him look bad. Boom, just said it. I'm willing to bet that almost no people who were sitting around the dark and cold in Texas were thinking to themselves, I wonder what Ted Cruz is doing right now. I sure hope he's sitting here in the dark and the cold with us just because. But now that media actually, he was on a mission. He was on a very special mission down in Texas, or down in Cancun. And I'll explain that mission before we wrap this up. But now that a media frenzy has descended, many of his constituents will no doubt be angry, even though almost none of them could come up with something that Cruz as a senator should have been doing at this time. And even though none of them would have had any complaints about any other person in Texas who responded to extended blackouts and freezing cold by leaving to take a trip somewhere else. That's just called sensible behavior. Boom. Sensible behavior. What should have Cruz been doing, right? As a citizen, as a dad, people forget, right? We see these polarizing figures, these Trumps. People look at Trump and they forget that Trump is a grandpa, right? Trump bounces little kids on his knees and goes because he's a grandpa. Ted Cruz is a husband and a father. He has children that want to go on vacation, that he doesn't want to see suffer, just like you and I have children. All right. Different people have different means. All right. Should he have gone? I see no reason why he shouldn't have gone to Cancun. At the same token, I think it was a silly move because he should have known better that in the climate we're in today, the leftists are going to do whatever they need to do to destroy people. Now, at the same token, are we supposed to live in fear from these leftists? Are we supposed to live in fear from this mainstream media mob? Are we supposed to live in fear and not do anything and hide in the darkness and hope it passes just so they can take everything from us? No. So you know what I say? I say power to Ted Cruz. He should have gave them the finger and sat and drank a frickin' Mai Tai and a couple pina coladas, and then, 1 beer, 2 beers, 3 beers, 4 beers, 5 beers, a margarita, a Bloody Mary, and he should have done it all in the name of go screw yourself, lefties. He should have sat his ass down in Cancun and come back with a nice, crisp, golden tan, smelling like coconuts and cigars. Anyway, now that I've ranted about that, let's keep getting through this. Granted, not everyone has the financial wherewithal to escape to Cancun during a time like this. But you can bet that if my power had been off all week and I had relatives in Alabama who invited me to stay with them, I would have done it. And since I feel that class envy reflects more poorly on the people who have it than the people who are targets of it, I find it impossible to condemn Cruz for anything other than violating expectations that are not grounded in reality. And Leon, that's your name, right? The guy who wrote this, that's Leon Wolf. You make an absolutely fantastic point there, all right? Expectations not grounded in reality. And I think that's a big thing that the left has lost the last couple of years, especially in the last couple months, is their sense of reality, grounding, common sense, balance. They're completely off the rails. And for that, it seems pretty insane for people to be treating this like the biggest news story of the week. And the story's been established because his physical presence could not improve the situation in any way whatsoever. Cruz left a place that was cold and without power for a place that was warm and had power. You know, New Yorkers have been doing that for 100 years. It's called Palm Beach and Broward County, Florida. Plain and simple. It's called Boca Raton. It's called Boynton Beach. It's called Venetian. Anyway, I'm getting a little too Florida for my britches. I keep forgetting I'm up here in the blue, frigid enemy territory of Seattle. Dun, dun, dun. They're going to kick my door in at any minute and drag me out and take me to the re-education camp. If the people of Texas feel that Cruz leaving a place that was cold for a place that was warm with his family reflects poorly upon him, then so be it. The ongoing feeding frenzy over the story is plainly not driven by its news value, but rather by animosity Cruz has personally generated among members of the media, which, in my book, is probably his most endearing quality. I would agree, Leon. I like the fact, Cruz is not the most personable, but he does piss off the left. And I do love that about him. I really do love that about him. I thought this was a really hypocritical thing that happened to Ted. I really do. Because people all over the place are going to Cancun. I keep hearing about people going on trips to Cancun because it's so cheap right now, because everybody's scared of the China virus. So I found an article on CNBC, a darling lefty station, right? Ted Cruz gets slammed, but Americans are flocking to Cancun. So if Ted Cruz is going to be held accountable, why aren't other people held accountable? All these people, they're not like poor people that can't afford trips. These are people with a little money put away. They're going to Cancun during the pandemic. So if they're going to Cancun, a lot of them are probably very important and have companies and different things like that. Why are they not in trouble? Why are they not helping solve the crisis? Many of them are Texans. Why are they not back in Texas starving to death like everyone? Because this is a country of individual liberty. We are not socialists. We're not damn communists yet. So get off your high horse, lefties. Get the hell off of it. We have the right to do what we please. This is the United States of America. Your individual liberty, lefties, is infringing upon us. Get off our lawns. Plain and simple. Ted Cruz gets slammed, but Americans are flocking to Cancun. This is CNBC. Kenneth Kisnowski, ladies and gentlemen. I said gentlemeth, like Kenneth, gentlemeth. Ladies and gentlemen, Kenneth Kisnowski. All right. Here's the key points. Texas Senator Ted Cruz may regret having traveled to Cancun, Mexico this week for political reasons, yet thousands of Americans are flocking to the Mexican resort despite travel restrictions. An Expedia Group report finds that the top two destinations for 2021 among Americans are Cancun and nearby Riviera Maya. Look at that beautiful beach. For those watching, we are looking at nice tan individuals, a mixture of beautiful people on a beautiful sandy beach, children playing. I see one person with a mask. Everybody else is enjoying the clear skies, the blue clear water. You can see an obvious fat bald man in the back. I assure you it's not me. I was not in Cancun. And you can see these cute little sky high hotel buildings in the back there where everybody's sitting, having a good time, soaking up the rays, drinking Mai Tais, the beaches of Cancun, ladies and gentlemen. I would love to be. Wouldn't you love to be there right now? Sitting on a beach, sipping something strong. Anyway, even Senator Ted Cruz admits his decision to vacation in sunny Cancun, Mexico. This is going to be a little skewed of an article. This is them attempting to make somewhat of a normal news article. Even Senator Ted Cruz admits his decision to vacation in sunny Cancun, Mexico this week while his home state of Texas was suffering record cold and massive power outages was obviously a mistake, as he told reporters in Houston upon his hastily arranged return. But it turns out his big error was when he went, not where. While the Republican firebrand's public relations instincts may have been off, his travel ones weren't. At least according to Expedia Group, Cancun is in fact the #1 destinations Americans are booking flights to in so far 2021. The online travel agency found that its 2021 travel trends report and the so-called Riviera Maya just south of Cancun, which includes seaside resorts Playa del Carmen and Tulum, is just behind in second place. This same study found that 56% of U.S. travelers want to take a beach vacation this year. Damn right they do. We've had enough of this totalitarian crap, all right? Besides the natural stuff that's going on, we have all the man-made stuff that's going on. And then on top of that, all the elites with their crap raining down upon the backs of us peasants. Damn right we want to go to a beach. I want to go to a beach. You want to go to the beach with me, guys? Let's go to the beach. Let's go to the damn beach. This is despite, right? This whole travel report, this study that's showing that all of these Americans, these 56% of the country that want to go to Cancun, it's happening in the face of a U.S. State Department Level 3 travel advisory urging Americans to reconsider travel to Mexico due to COVID-19. Yeah, just not due to the fact that people are being shot to death outside of Cancun. That doesn't have anything. Nah. And a Level 4 travel health notice for the country issued by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Now, on January 12th, the CDC announced an order requiring air passengers flying from abroad to get a COVID-19 test no more than 3 days before their flight to the States and to present a negative result or proof of recovery from COVID to their airline before boarding. It's then recommended they get retested once home and quarantined for at least a week. Mexico, which has some of the world's loosest border restrictions amid the pandemic, does not require any testing before visitors' arrival. Why would they? Why would they? They're worried about food down there. They're worried about shelter down there. Just like in my wife's home country, the Philippines, guys, they're worried about starving to death in certain places there. All right? I mean, the border thing's not too big of a deal in the Philippines, being that it's made of about 7,000 different little tiny islands, and you'd need a lot of swimming strength to get your butt over there, though they do make their way in down south. There's bigger fish to fry in the third world, all right? You don't have unlimited budgetary resources and unlimited manpower to handle everything. So you have to divert from the border to deal with COVID or to deal with other stuff. That's what people in America sometimes forget. We can be very parochial. We have a huge, beautiful country. We have a huge amount of freedom here. And when you've never left, it's very hard to understand that you're literally playing a give and take with people's lives in other countries. All right, if we do this, then half the people that we're going to die will die. A bunch of people are going to die no matter what. But if we make the lesser of two evils decision here, only half those people. Those are the choices governments have to make in the third world, guys. It's a real truth. It's a fact of life. And I truly believe that if this country didn't do a mandatory military, I wouldn't want to see that. But if they did like a mandatory service where they sent 18-year-olds for like a year to third world countries and had them build houses and feed the poor and do shit like that, they would actually see the real world. And man, if every 18-year-old had to do that for a year, be it in the Philippines, be it in Africa, be it in South America, somewhere, anywhere like that, living among the people, eating the food among the people. Oh, it's a country that doesn't use toilet paper. They use a bucket and water. Well, guess what, Jack? It's bucket and water time. They come back here a year later. We will never, ever have a socialist problem in this country again. I promise you. That's my solution, at least. Back off the rant. Back onto the article. Let's finish it up. There's like a paragraph left here. Despite the hassle of testing and quarantines, tens of thousands of Americans have headed south of the border on holiday since the final weeks of 2020. The state of Quintana Roo, home to Cancun and the Riviera Maya, welcomed 961,000. That's almost 1 million visitors. All right, in that time frame. All right, that's just in that small time frame, according to the Associated Press. And nearly half were from the U.S. All right, that's about 500,000 U.S. people. That is just a 25% drop from the same pre-pandemic period a year before. So people are flocking to Mexico, folks. This isn't Ted Cruz making a selfish decision. This is a decision that hundreds of thousands of Americans have made so far just in the last couple months. All right. Not a big deal. Really not a big deal. Big deal for PR? Yes. In reality, a big deal? Not a big deal at all. But of course, out-of-touch Hollywood celebrities have something to say about it, just like they had something to say about Gina Carano. Of course, the same dumbasses are going to have plenty to say about Ted Cruz. Just look at them. The piggy number 1, and the piggy Seth Rogen number 2, and the piggy with the slack jaw number 3. Right there. Yep. Piggies have something to say. They say, fuck Ted Cruz. Hollywood celebrities pile on senator over Cancun trip amid Texas crisis. I wonder how many Cancun trips those folks have been on. A horde. They use the word horde, so I had to. A horde of left-wing Hollywood elites piled on senator. This sounds like a raping. A horde of left-wing Hollywood elites piled on. I see, like, if I was writing a movie, you'd see like a dark alley and you'd see nothing, just the dark alley, and you'd hear, and then pitter patter footsteps, like, and you'd see the shadow and the camera would zoom in and it would be Senator Ted Cruz hiding against a brick wall. Like, okay. And then he'd start running again. And then all of a sudden you hear, kill him, there he is, burn him. And you just see freaking Alec Baldwin and Tom Hanks and Seth Rogen and Alyssa Milano, and they're carrying torches and they're all running and they just pile on him and just, they just like a big doggy pile. And then they, unfortunately molest and eat Ted Cruz, because I'm under the impression that all of these leftists are actually lizard people, and that's what they like to do. They eat senators in there. I'm totally, if you ban me for this, all right, platforms, for saying that they're lizard people and then they're eating Ted Cruz, you're idiots. I'm making a joke. It's a joke. Joke. All right. Juliet, Oscar, Kilo, Echo. Joke. There, I spelled it for you, okay? It's a joke. But truly, they're eating Ted Cruz. Cruz made headlines. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Wait, let me go up. I didn't finish reading it. I went off into my rant before I finished reading it. All right. A horde of left-wing Hollywood elites piled onto Senator Ted Cruz following reports that he was on a plane headed to Cancun alongside his family in the midst of the crisis in Texas, bashing him as a worm who is desperately trying to rebrand from the inspired deadly insurrection. Motherfucker to the left, my constituents to freeze. What? What's he even? Hold on. Let me read this again, because this doesn't sound right. A horde of left-wing Hollywood elites piled on Senator Ted Cruz following reports that he was on a plane headed to Cancun alongside his family in the midst of the crisis in Texas, bashing him as a worm who is desperately trying to rebrand from the inspired a deadly insurrection, motherfucker to the left, my constituents to freeze to death so I could go to Cancun, motherfucker. Okay. Hannah Blue wrote this, all right, on Breitbart. I get, or maybe this is a quote, an entire quote. Hannah, maybe I have nothing to say. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but that was the longest sentence I've ever read. And now it makes sense but you could have made it make sense much easier. Holy crap. I'm sorry, listeners, that I put you through that. But at least we got to imagine some crazed Hollywood elites chasing down a winded Ted Cruz, jumping on top of him and transforming into lizard people and eating his brains. At least we got that joke out of it. Anyway, can we move on? This is getting awkward. Cruz made headlines early Thursday after a photo surfaced of the Texas senator boarding a plane with his family en route to Cancun. He released a statement on Thursday explaining that his daughters asked to take a trip with friends. Like millions of Texas, our family lost heat and power too. He said, noting that school had been canceled for his daughters as well. And wanting to be a good dad, I flew down with them last night and I'm flying back this afternoon. A photo surfaced later Thursday showing Cruz carrying his luggage at the Cancun International Airport to return to the Lone Star State. Still, left-wing celebrities were quick to observe the poor optics of the situation given the winter storm in Texas that left millions without power and water. And I think, Hannah, you nailed it there. Poor optics. He didn't do anything wrong. It's just poor optics, right? It's just poor optics. And you know what? If you had $1 million and your son or daughter came up to you and said, I don't want to be here. Can we just go down to Cancun? It's like $700. Your ass would be in Cancun. Seriously, you'd be seriously down there. Or, dos X, please. Por favor. Hola, mamacita. Ha ha. You come on. Don't even screw with me. Don't even screw with me. Seth Rogen. Oh, Seth. Come on, man. It sucks, by the way, because I actually enjoy a few of his movies. I liked Superbad. I liked a couple of them. But, man, he's just such a lefty piece of pond scum, man. Just such a slime that I can't even enjoy his movies. They're not even funny anymore because all I could see is his stupid, disgusting face. Oh, my God. Still, left-wing celebrities were quick to observe the poor optics. Seth Rogen, one of Cruz's top Hollywood critics, known for battling him on Twitter, concluded the Texas senator is trying to rebrand from the inspired and deadly insurrection. Oh, you were quoting Seth Rogen, Hannah. I apologize. So, Seth Rogen, you're illiterate, and that was the longest run-on sentence I've ever read. I didn't screen this article before I used it. I pulled it up last minute. So again, Hannah, I talked a little crap at the beginning about your article. Your article's actually on point. It's just that quote on the top there from Rogan. And I'm not talking about Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's cool. I'm talking about Seth Rogen. You're a piece of shit. Seth Rogen, you're not only a piece of shit, but you're obviously illiterate because you can't string a freaking sentence together. Well, yes, you can. You can string one gigantic incoherent sentence together. Good job. Good job. I'm glad you wasted all your English writing your stupid movies. He's just that big an MFer, Rogan said. I think... Let's see. Okay, that's his stupid crap there. One Tree Hill. Actress Sophia Bush used the opportunity to call on Cruz to resign. He's a craven, corrupt, sniveling, selfish hack who's clearly not interested in representing anyone but him. Bush said, my God. I hope the Ted Cruz resign calls get louder and louder, stealing emergency services from freezing constituents. My God, oh, Sophia Bush, you sound like Corella DeVille. After I get done trashing Senator Ted Cruz, after I get done telling him what a piece of crap he is, I'm going to go skin 100 Dalmatian puppies alive. That's what I think her afternoons consist of. CBS mom star Kristen Johnson expressed her thoughts in what she branded a totally bipartisan tweet. I'm glad you're the star of a show called Mom, Good example for kids, F. Ted Cruz. Totally bipartisan. No, not totally bipartisan. Some of us wait to find out what was going on. Again, stupid decision based on optics. Oh, look, it's Alyssa Milano. Let's see if she took enough medication this morning. Don't know if you remember, but I asked Cancun Cruz to follow me on Twitter yesterday so I could DM him. He didn't respond. He didn't respond because you're irrelevant and nobody wants to respond to you. He probably didn't even know you messaged him because you're dumb and nobody loves you. Attached was what I wrote him. Oh, you attached it. It was about trying to get him to co-sponsor the bill to lift the arbitrary timeline on the equal rights amendment. Shut up, Alyssa. Just because you guys disguise things with the name equal rights and you use words to convince and brainwash uninformed people. I was going to say non-intelligent. Well, I guess I could say non-intelligent because if you choose to live your life uninformed and then make dumb voting decisions, you are dumb. You are unintelligent. So yeah, screw you. All the Alyssa Milanoites out there. All right. You can all go live in your bubble somewhere. All right. When Trump builds his social media empire, we'll all go there and we can meet back up in 20 years to discuss this when it gets even worse. How ugly does a motherfucker have to be? Oh, this is Hellboy. Oh, really? You're in this too, Ron? I thought I was just talking about you the other day when you were talking crap about somebody else. Yeah. Oh, God. Oh, Ron, these people cannot live without attention. They were once almost famous and now they're nothing. And this is the only place that to get the good stroke. To get the good ego stroke, baby. They get to feel relevant for 5 seconds, and it keeps them from shooting themselves in the head. Ron Perlman, you dumb motherfucker, you're the most depressed person on the face of the earth. Just like Alyssa Milano, just like Kristen Johnson, just like Sophia Bush, just like Seth Rogen, people who have everything and all the struggle, excitement, and hardship has left their lives, and they are nothing but empty souls, empty vessels, empty heads filled with rage because they are not relevant anymore. They are nothing and nobody cares about them. Ron, no one cares about you. He said, how ugly does an MFer have to be before the good people of Texas stop sending him to do their business? Ron Perlman, you should know about ugly. Look in a mirror. Why do you think you were picked for Hellboy? Because you look like him. If you're wondering how far Ted Cruz will go to prove he's an a-hole, it's 1,800 miles, comedian Chelsea Handler remarked, piling on with her left-wing counterparts. Chelsea, if I'm wondering how far I have to go to see Chelsea Handler be a dumbass and an asshole, it's I don't have to go anywhere because I don't care about you. Do as I say, not as I do. Classic. Sarah Silverman said, Sarah, nobody cares about you either. Shut up. You're fake. You're fake. So in Titanic, when Rose didn't share that piece of wood she was floating on and took a nap while Jack froze to death, is that pulling a cruise? Wanda said, Wanda, you're irrelevant. Nobody, it's not funny. You're making Titanic jokes? Who cares? Do you even know how ice works? You're sitting here? Wanda, you're Wanda Sykes. Never let go, Jack. Shut up. Shut the fuck up and go back to your hole. The great Gatsby star Mia Farrow used the opportunity to urge Texans to remember the coward. Dear Texas, when you come out of this horrific time, and you will because you're the great people of a great state, remember this coward. You deserve better. Mia Farrow, you never had anything nice to say about any of these people. You're just hoping to steal a couple voters over to the left because you've been paid to or told to or programmed to do so. Similarly, Pulp Fiction actress Rosanna Arquette concluded that Cruz is not fit to serve. What role did she play? Is that that's the most relevant movie? Wasn't she the druggie? Like, she's not Uma Thurman. She's not Samuel L. Jackson, motherfucker. She's not Vincent Vega. You know who I'm talking about, Mr. Scientology. She's Rosanna Arquette. I think she played like the girl with all the shit in her face. When John Travolta heads over to his drug dealer's house, right, to buy heroin, I think it's the drug dealer's wife that literally has like 3 lines. She's like, I got my tongue pierced. I got my nipples pierced. I got my clit pierced. I got my ears pierced. By the way, I'm sure you figured out by now this isn't an episode for kids. I got a stud in my tongue for fellatio. That's what she says in the movie. I'm just quoting a movie. She had like 2 lines. That was the whole. So if that's literally, is that who else was in? I can't think of any other women that were in Pulp Fiction besides Uma Thurman, right? There's some people in the background. There's the woman, when Marcellus Wallace gets hit by the car from Bruce Willis, and he's like, you mother, boom. And he gets up and pulls the glass out of his face. Bruce Willis does. And then Marcellus Wallace pulls out the gun. He's like, I'm going to kill you. And he's boom. And he's just shooting wildly in LA. And he shoots that thick 1990s, late 1980s white short pants wearing lady right in the hip. Boom. And she goes, ah. That's the only other woman I remember from Pulp Fiction. And she's more memorable to me than Rosanna Arquette. So Rosanna, again, geez. Ted Cruz is warming himself in Cancun with his cohorts while the people he is meant to serve in Texas freeze. People are afraid, hungry, and cold. He doesn't fit to serve. Shut up. Just shut up. Since when did you care about the people of Texas, Rosanna? Rosanna, Rosanna, you really suck so much that you had to use a Pulp Fiction reference. Shut up. King of Queens Act. Oh, of course, Patton Oswalt. Ratatouille himself referred to the Texas lawmaker as a worm, while Star Trek actor George Takei surmised that the GOP base in Texas will continue to support Cruz to own the libs. Today is the day Ted Cruz proves that he can do nothing or something, no compassionate or elective effective. I'm screwing this whole thing up. Let's start George Takei's impression over again. Today is the day Ted Cruz proves that he can do something no compassionate or effective leader would ever do, and the GOP base in Texas will still vote for him because you've got to own the libs. Oh my. That impression started turning into Charlton Heston halfway through. I don't know if you could tell. Let me know. Millions of his constituents are without power and water in freezing temps, and Ted Cruz is hopping on a plane to spring break in Cancun. Why can't he go to Cancun? There's 500,000 other Texans going to Cancun. I don't freaking know. They're idiots. Top Chef host Padma Lakshmi said, you can't make this shit. These freaking virtue. They're so holier than that, like they've never done anything bad in their life. I used to sell floppy disks of porn when I was in freaking high school. At least 9th grade, 8th grade, middle school and high school. I used to freaking go to the dollar store and buy packs of lollipops and then sell them for 50 cents to $1. All right? Not to mention the other things that might have been sold. I'm just talking about the things that won't get me in trouble. Nobody's perfect. Everybody has a past. Everybody's done things they regret. Everybody has skeletons in their closet. And all of these idiots, these no-names, George Takei, you haven't been famous in 40 fucking years. All of you are sitting there telling us common peasants how much better than us you are, how perfect you are. You deserve your role in high society because you've never done any wrong. I promise you, if Seth Rogen hadn't ever done anything wrong, he wouldn't be able to write his stupid movies the way he writes them. Guys, these are hypocrites trying to tell. It's like, I don't know if any of you guys work at a company right now where a lot of people are working from home. It's kind of like that. Like you get on email chains, right? And somebody's like, we need to do this. And then 30 other people are talking about it only because they just want to show their boss like, hey, I'm here. I still work. I'm not just sleeping at home pretending to be working. Hello. Hi. They're just virtue signaling. They're just jumping on the conference call. It's the same with these celebrities just jumping on I wouldn't even call them celebrities. George Takei, washed up. Patton Oswalt hasn't been funny in years. Padma Lakshmi, she sounds like a lox and schmear bagel. I don't even know who that is. Rosanna Arquette. The only thing I know you for is that your brother thought he was a pro wrestler and won the WCW World Heavyweight Championship title. And Mia Farrow? I don't know. Wanda Sykes, never been funny. Sarah Silverman? Never been funny. Chelsea Handler? Never been funny. Ron Perlman, you were cool for one or two things. You did a ton of crappy movies, made your money, sit down, shut up. Nobody likes you. You sound like a little bitch. Alyssa Milano, you are a little bitch. Kristen Johnson, again, I don't know who you are. Sophia Bush, oh my God. Look, we're just going and going and going and going and going. I'm going to have an embolism pop in my head. And there's more. Look, Piper Parabo, Texas, once you're safe, make sure you're registered to vote. Then you got Mike Birbiglia, another stand-up comedian. That moment when you incorrectly answer the question, should we still go to Cancun? Vaughn Hilliard, new statement from Ted Cruz. Everybody jumping on the bandwagon so that they hope they can get a little rub, a little shine, a little stripper glitter on their chest. A little bit of that stripper perfume. They feel nice and shiny all night long, dancing on the pole just to feel empty when they sign off of Twitter. These are irrelevant people. They'll disappear and fade into the dust. No one will mourn them when their end comes. Nobody will care when they pass into irrelevancy, as they've already passed into irrelevancy. Look, we could even name a couple, like there's people that you would expect to be on here because you already expect them to be washed up celebrities and say stupid stuff. Like, I'm surprised I don't see Michael Rappaport on here, or one of the multiple Baldwins on here, or, or Tom, or what's his face? The dude from all the mobster movies that I've canceled in my own head, so I forgot his freaking name already. The guy from the Fockers movies. They're like part of this troupe, brainwashed cultists. You can name them off your head. I don't have to go through this. I wanted to bring this to your attention because even if Cruz deserves a little bit of ire, even if we have the right to give him a little crap for his dumb optics decision, internally and on the basis foundational level, what he did wasn't that big of a deal, in my opinion. And then on top of it, this little thing, right, gets more coverage than pedophiles and Epsteins of the world, than Cuomo murdering old people. That none of that's covered. But we have to sit here and listen to these washed up sphincters fart out their diarrhea. All right. And I think I'm not the only one that's sick of it. So I think we need to bring ourselves down a notch, ladies and gentlemen. I think we need to bring ourselves down, an entire 5 notches. All right. I think it's time you know the truth. I think it's time that you know Ted's secret. You see, Ted is a little different than you and me, folks. Ted is a little more powerful than you and me, guys. Ted has plans. Senator Ted Cruz, ladies and gentlemen, he didn't go down to Cancun, Mexico to go on vacation. He was trying to help save the damn country. What am I talking about? Ladies and gentlemen, look at this. I don't know how we missed this. Heroic Ted Cruz. He travels to Cancun to lasso the sun and bring it back to Texas. Alyssa Milano, you go lasso the sun and bring it back to Texas. Do you know how fucking heavy the sun is, Alyssa? Sit down, shut up, eat your ramen noodle. Cancun, Ted Cruz is being heralded as a hero after he traveled to Cancun in the middle of the worst energy crisis in recent memory in order to lasso the sun and bring it back to Texas. The media quickly condemned Cruz for his trip, but apologized when they realized he was actually saving the state by bringing the sun back for them. Don't worry, y'all. Ted's coming back, and the sun's coming with him. Cruz cried as he rode along a beautiful Cancun beach, spooling his lasso, to catch the sun. Yeah! After a few unsuccessful attempts, Cruz remained undeterred, riding back and forth across the beach, trying to catch the sunlight. What a brave man. What a brave man. He's a tricky little rascal, boy. Howdy, Cruz said. But we'll get him. Just you watch. Darn tootin', we'll get him. He was also attempting to bottle the water and bring it back to Texans who have had no water for days, but wisely listening to an advisor All right. His advisors had warned him. He wisely listened to them. Thank God. They warned him that drinking the Mexican water would probably just make matters worse. Don't you drink the water down in Cancun, or else your rectum will be leaking like a pontoon. Anyway, we're done. Okay, we're done with the episode. I wanted to try a different format. I wanted to make it a little funny. I wanted to give you a little bit of laughter and a little bit of seriousness as well this Saturday morning. Well, I guess it's Saturday afternoon now. But folks, do me a favor. You enjoyed this podcast. You enjoyed the episode that we did. You're watching it most likely on Odyssey. Some of you are watching it on YouTube or other places. Go to Odyssey, ODYSEE.com. All right. To me, I believe that's going to be the new YouTube. That I need you to sign up for them right there. I need you to follow me. Hit the button that shows follow. Boom, right at the top there. And right next to it is this notification bell. Unlike YouTube, if you follow me and hit the notification bell on Odyssey, you will get notifications. You will see all of my content. All right. And I assure you, it's glorious. Folks, if you like what I'm doing, please do me that favor. Follow along on Parler at the James Lane. All right. Follow along everywhere else. If you just type in American_Reveille, you'll find me on most social media platforms. Now, if you go to Google or DuckDuckGo and you just type in American Reveille, REVEILLE podcast, you will find me. I'm like the first 3 pages. I am all over the place, baby. I am all over the place. And all you got to do is bring a little plastic bag and a spatula, and you can take me home with you too. Folks, head over to www.americanreveille.com. We got some good new articles out, some new articles out in the next day or two as well. New website coming. I'm expecting by next week. I have a meeting tomorrow with the webmaster, and we're going to start transferring some stuff over on Sunday. So I'm excited about that. All right. But again, you got something to say, you got some feedback, you have suggestions, you think you can help, you want to be part of the street team in your local area, or you have some digital skills, some media skills, advertising skill, production, editing, auto, Photoshop, logo making, branding, different things like that. If you think you can be a help, please email me, jameslane@americanreveille.com, or hit the contact tab in the upper right-hand side, and you could fill up the contact form. And folks, as always, sign up for the newsletter. And if you would like to feel a little extra generous, if you laughed your ass off during this episode, if you just discovered this and you said, damn, I hope this guy sticks around. They're doing everything in their power to destroy us, to censor us, to take us out, but we're creative and we're working around the clock to stop that, but we need your help. So do me a favor, hit the support us tab. All right. Hit the support us tab and donate. If you can donate $5, $10, $100, $1,000, whatever you can spare, depends on your income bracket. If you can't spare anything, that's fine. Just share, talk about the American Reveille and participate on our social media. I'll love you forever. All right. And obviously, I haven't forgotten about those folks listening on traditional podcasts like AM radio kind of stuff, guys. That's what I try to make this. There's a totally different experience if you're listening. The people who are watching, they don't get the buffer music and certain other things like that. But the people who are listening do. All right. And so you kind of get that really cool AM radio experience. I didn't forget about you. I'm on Apple Podcasts. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please give me that 5-star rating. Type in an actual review. Follow me. Share. And Android users and other users out there that don't have Apple, I am on everything. I'm on TuneIn. I'm on, Deezer, Podchaser, Spotify, Audible, all the ones you can think of, iHeartRadio, right? There's a ton of them out there. I'm all over the place. You can literally find me, American Reveille Podcast. Don't search with the word The American Reveille, just American Reveille Podcast. You'll find me all over the place. Follow along, subscribe. I love you long time. All right, folks, thank you so much for listening. All right. And we'll see you again once upon a time in Texas. See you in the next video, guys. Bye.